you're not strong, I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on. Lean on me. Really, I always want to watch twice, Pastor, but I was so absorbed today, I just wanted to go, let's do it. So, wow. Anyway, Pastor, I just, again, whatever bubbles up, I I wanted to tell you, I think my favorite verse in the New Testament is also a 4:8. Perfect love will cast out fear. You better double check the address. It might be in Ecclesiastes with my brain. But I think it's 4:8. Wow. And the truth is, although it's idealism, it's not realism. But I really do believe, Pastor, if every person like yourself, but you do it, Pastor, got radical about the Sermon on the Mount, boom, marching orders, it creates 100% of what we fear is pain, and what we fear is death. We fear confusion. We fear being upset, distress, disappointment. And although I can't do this, Pastor, I'm an effing hypocrite. The reality is that Jesus said you live by the sword, you die by the sword. So the concept is that blessed are the peacemakers. When you go visit someone in prison that Jesus said, you're a sheep, you might be put in because you're associating with that prisoner. You go visit someone that's sick, Jesus goes, ha ha ha, that's what I meant. Good shape. Believe me, you might get their sickness. So there was a resolve of that second part of the serenity prayer. God, grant me the serenity, the tranquility, the the peace that does pass any logic, the calm of that man standing in the lighthouse, the ultimate eye of the hurricane, under the shadow of the Almighty's wing. All the prophets, ones that you wouldn't even listen to, have always talked about the dichotomy of the world. I call it a minefield. And so the only peace is never in the world. This is a wave wide and broad, and it's a way of destruction. And by the way, I've had bank fraud 3 times, Pastor. 3. Anyway, so when you're in that, when you're doing your fasting 21 days, and you do that regularly, and again, you do it to get closer, to get deeper, to get more embedded in the Spirit. And then you take that glow with you. But there is a resolve of God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. And so you cast those cares. I'll never forget the first time, I don't know how old I was when, and it was very challenging. It's too long of a story. But you have no idea what a religious Jew I grew up. I'm not saying it was Saul, but for America, it was Saul. And it was my father that broke with all of that and went to a conservative synagogue, which was very religious, but tried to implement love more pragmatic. But anyway, I got off. The so the rabbi that bar mitzvahed me after my dad's death told me I was his only failure, and he meant it. He really rubbed it in. I couldn't do my bar mitzvah well. I had to have the cantor because I'm special ed, but there was no patience. He told me out of 50 years, he told me this when I was in my 40s, and he retired shortly after that. He said, I've only had one failure, you, Avi, you. And part of all of that, besides the fact I couldn't do my bar mitzvah in the tone that you have to, and it's just a lot of detail of that legalism. I also started searching. I was searching for Jehovah, and I wanted to see, well, let's find, are all these other people that aren't chosen? What? Wow, some of them are a lot more loving than me as a Jew. And then no one could compete with my dad, but Elizabeth could compete with my dad. And she loved Jesus. So anyway, somewhere in all of that, and you know how bold I am, I'm just in your face about everything. And so I decided to read the entire New Testament. I decided to touch the unclean thing. But anyway, why did I go through all that? Damn, I'm sorry, excuse me, I'm sorry. I don't remember why I went on that. I don't know. I don't remember. I'm sorry. Anyway, oh, so the first time I read that cast your care, all I could think about was putting it like you did with the rocks, and said, don't come back here, you know, you throw your piece of paper in, and I do hope you know, Pastor, I was planning to write it out, but I felt so, let's just do this now. But you know what's on my paper, Pastor. I am going to be, it's, the day they throw me out of here, I will just justify through the fact that perfect love casts out fear, and I couldn't find any perfected love. I didn't ask to be what I am. It took me 65 years to be this humble. It started really crumbling a few years ago. But I'm just a complete vulnerable, like the person who can't come up and cast their own cares. You know, can somebody be considered? So if I can't find this special safe, S-A-F-E, that's, I was going to write that on a little note, just show it to you, but I started with the other. Lean on me. More positive. But the point is, I want to be safe. I cannot be safe in this world if I can't struggle anymore financially. I can't live on the streets. I need a little spot with a few groovy people around me that know everything about me and just love me and pray for me and encourage me in this desire to eradicate loneliness starting in America. Just on steroids, James 1:27. Just on steroids. Let's just make sure this happens. You know, legislate a lot of other issues that we're very different on this, Pastor, but that's not important. The concept is a lot of our laws, this being found, after they destroyed, anyway, the American Indian. The issue is, yes, America was taken over and then reestablished as a Christian nation. And so a lot of laws are kind of intertwined with that. So, I don't know. Maybe there's we just got to get radical about visiting the lonely. It's the most curable illness. But anyway, the issue is, if I can't find a place that I'm SAFE, I'm not struggling financially, man. I have the most meager lifestyle, Pastor. Believe me, I do. I do. And by that way, I'm glad we talked about it. Pastor, I knew you said you were going to come see me. Please, please do let me know a day or two ahead. I was a CEO. I was as busy as you. And because I'm so paranoid, I'm always caught. I'm in many other worlds, Ephesians 6:12. And I just want to know, quote unquote, my son is coming. And I am going to encourage you to try to come on like a day like today, where it's in the 40s, because we have a picnic table, and so dress warm. But at my place is disgusting, Pastor. It just is right now. I don't know, around the coronavirus time. This place, I did a video on it. I called it the Museum. I know you saw that. Professor, doctor, shift your brains. Yes, shift your brains. That's right. Philippians 4:8. Doctor, professor, shift your brains. I didn't say, well, no, I said shift your brain. Anyway, I've destroyed all of it. Now I just do this far from the first time. But anyway, it's just disgusting. And I don't want you here, not because I know what I am. I purposely believe, and you're as sick as your deepest secret. But you're pure, and you're just beautiful, and I don't want you to get sick or just have to look at my crap. So, anyway, so I want to meet with you outside, and I think it'll just be, but on a kind of, in the 40s, it's not raining. Me, I don't care, but I've been homeless, so, some days I like the rain more, except, never mind. So, there's my care, because I'm going to be Samson, and I'll justify. I couldn't find perfected love. I couldn't find it. I couldn't find someone that just wanted to be a good Samaritan. So I don't want any money. As a matter of fact, you're really, you're out of your mind, but you are really motivated by non-judgmental, uplifting, unconditional love. Not far from 100%, Pastor. I have to quarantine myself. I'm a very mean person. I am a walking contradiction. But anyway, this is 14 minutes. I'm so sorry, Pastor. I hope you have time to listen. But anyway, so cast your care. So I saw it like you put the care on a fishing rod, and you cast it, and you reel it back in. Oh, I gotta look at it. Anyway, just a few more notes so I don't forget. There is a second thing when I do see you that is much more serious. Otherwise, I'd put it on a tape. I would only want to talk to you on the phone about it. After today's sermon, there is a number 2 that I just want to talk to you about. And remember, I'm not full of myself at all. I see out of one, it's out of, forget 4 sides, some kind of octagon prismatic tower. that there's like 25 windows. And, if you asked everyone exactly what they saw, no one is lying. And everyone's telling the truth, and they have a different perspective. Thus, I'm assuming the whole, many members of the body. And, but anyway, I just want to share two things with you. But on uh, all, just to also respond, I just wanted to tell you one. It just doesn't matter the situation I was in, but leading a lot of people, and in your case, that are guaranteed at least to be schizophrenic. I mean that very poetically only, but Paul going, when I want to do good, I don't. The things I hate to do, there's another law in me. So, the two natures. And so we are selfish, and we have to fight against that, and that's probably the biggest battle. Which brings me back to pacifism, ultimately, that perfected love will cast out fear. So if you have a full resolve of acceptance, I really might die today. And I might really die. I was stirred by when you pointed out that didn't know if Paul was going to be executed or not. And there was just a resolve that my actions of non-judgmental, uplifting, unconditional love, radical Sermon on the Mount, do good to them that hate you, pray for them, despitefully use you, persecute you, all of that, staying in that whole spiritual cloud, even while you're on earth, it gives you the peace, because hey, most likely I'm going to get persecuted, die. So the things you would fear, death, pain, all those things, disappointment, distress, discomfort, all of that, confusion. Now you've resolved yourself. You've already accepted. That's all there. And I'm probably going to die doing the loving thing. Okay. And I think of all believers like yourself that radically, because when you guys follow Jesus, the next thing in line is to follow what Jesus taught, which is the Sermon on the Mount. He said your righteousness has to be better than all these religions. And he was pointing at the Jews. I'm assuming only. I'm assuming. But what made it different? They loved one another. The love, the sacrificial love. You before me, you before me. If I die, don't worry about it. If I perish, I perish. Okay, that's all right. Love, 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 love. And I think that the world would be better if there was just a greater emphasis on this radical. The Christians like Corey Ten Boom hiding the Jews in Nazi Germany. Perfect love will cast out fear. And anyway, so my point is, I'm going to be Samson with the Philistines going, listen, mental health, no one could help me. I humbled myself. I know what I needed. I'm paralyzed. I can't fit into any of these cat-dog kennels that is pre-planned with limited funding. You were a social worker. There's not enough chicken feed for all the chickens, and I'm an elephant. And any paranoid schizophrenic is. Believe me, believe me, believe me. Very sad. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So, so the concept of others before yourself, what I used to do with this group is, anyway, we would do this weekly, and we would, the entire time, I just called it others time. That's what I called it. And we spent 2 hours just so silly, and it was funny, and it was good. And these were junior high kids. And I would have them, everything they had to do was think about I'd either do it where I set two up as buddies, and they had to feed each other and this and that. And then we would, the last 15 minutes was a free for all, but always others. You're always looking around. Hey, you need that? Blah, 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 blah. That was, so it reminded me of that. I'm going to tell you this final thing at 20 minutes. Please, I hope I stop rambling. I just love you, Pastor. You just so astound me. You so astound me. Your love, your eyes shine. You're so sincere. By the way, I liked your facial expression. I forget what it was, but you really emphasized it was good. You could just see, Pastor, you are an amazing teacher because you know when you probably too young, but they had projectors. And the kids, so many would put their fingers up in the school, do different things and make whatever was on look weird and whatever. The teacher would always be upset. But you never get, Pastor Ken, you never get in front of the projector. You always get behind it. And you make sure that you don't get in the way. You just point the way to what's on the projector. It's amazing. Forgiveness, Pastor. I am very non-forgiving. Revenge boils up in me. And I really have tried to do many times what you did today with the papers, the rocks. I go out and I remember one time I buried it, and I said, it's not good enough. So I dug it up and I burnt it. I was so afraid the police were going to come. Anyway, I have a lot of revenge. I can't even get into that. But I want to tell you a positive in the midst, and it's really to honor my daughter. Pastor, my daughter was visiting me. She started at, I always say 7, it was 7, 9, or 10. The more I keep thinking about it, it might have been 10 now, the first time. But anyway, my daughter always had to find me. I mean, I'm a problem. She told her boyfriends, listen, and because I was so outspoken, my daughter was just as groovy with that. And she said, listen, if I had a dog, I like that dog more than you right now. You better be good to my dog. Because my daddy is my dog. He comes with the package. I was astounding. I lost all that. My daughter just knew how sick I was. That movie, I Am Sam, or Sam I Am. You'll cry. You'll cry if you watch it. Sean Penn won an Academy Award for basically playing someone like me. But his daughter had to raise him. His mother was gone. Boom. Anyway, so I hated my mother. Oh my God. My brother, I am telling you, I won't say it like I would crassly, but he would have dropped his pants if he had the opportunity, because they put my mother now in a cremation thing, which is so unusual for Jews. This is years ago, 7 years ago, I think. So, he just would have dropped his pants and took a dump on her grave. Hater, 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 hater. Last time I ever spoke with my brother. Hated her. Now I hated her the same. Hater, 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 hater. And I was in a psychiatric ward and I caused a lot of problems. My daughter came to visit me. And I had to be in my 40s. She was in her 20s. I was crying. But I started crying about something that was very heavy because I was much more broken now and I knew I was really sick in my head. I started thinking about all my behavior. And I started thinking about my mother's behavior. And my daughter's visiting me, crying with me, always loving me. First to make an excuse for me. Love covers a multitude. I said, Rachel, how do you do this? You know I hate Grandma. She goes, Daddy, you don't hate Grandma. You hate the fact that she never made you feel safe and always made you feel fear. She says, Daddy, I don't hold your behavior against you. Around that time, I used to call Elizabeth every Sunday. If I was in psych, it didn't matter. I always lied, like things are groovy, because Elizabeth was my mommy. Always. She died at 96. So Elizabeth always started with the following. And my mother treated her like a black slave. Like my mother was a plantation, or she was just rotten. Yelling, screaming, all the time. So I called up Elizabeth, and we'd do the same rituals, but one of them was, I said, oh, Elizabeth, I love you so much. I just love you, love you, love you. She'd go, I don't know why you love me so much. I said, oh, Elizabeth, you know. And we would do that. But this day, I don't know why. I have no clue. I just broke character. And I said, I got real intense. I never did that with Elizabeth. Just wanted her to be happy. That's it. Anything I could do to make that woman happy. She completely saved me from insanity of my mother and my own. And having no friends. She was astounding. So I said, you know, Elizabeth. You do know. I don't know. I don't know why you love me so much. I said, you do. And I'm going to tell you straight, Elizabeth. From 0 to 10, I had 2 women in my life. One was white and one was black. The white woman was mean and rotten, and I didn't get any further. And like an old Richard Pryor routine, you talk about my mama? You talk about my mama. Elizabeth, literally, that's the only time I ever remember getting a little stern. Because here I am, anyway, it was all around that time. This might have, anyway, it was just, they were very close to each other. And she said, she interrupts me. She goes, I'm rambling, it was this white woman and she was mean. She goes, Child, I could hear his tone. You talking about your mama? I felt like I was 8 years old. I ate a cookie or something. You talking about your mama? Oh, child, I love your mama. That's impossible. That is impossible in my mind. She goes, Child, your mama's very, very sick. You should love your mama. You know what it is to be sick. Oh, no, child. I don't hate your mama. I love your mama. As if she was my own daughter. Oh, God. And the combination between the two. So much grace, so much love, so much grace, so much love. Perfected love. I broke. And I realized I was that guy who owed the big debt and was forgiven, and I was holding everything against my mother. Every rock I throwed at her had a boomerang on it, would hit me in the head. It was astounding. I love my mom now. I see things in me that I'm happy that her genetics are in me. That was all because of my daughter and Elizabeth showing me non-judgmental, uplifting, unconditional love. And I realized I needed to do the same for my mom. Anyway, Pastor, 31 minutes. I doubt you'll listen to this. I'm sorry. I'll give you a big hug. Big, 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 ba 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 ba, big, 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 ba 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 ba, big, 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 ba 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 ba, bug hug. I love you, Pastor Ken. Thanks for a great message.